Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and today we're going to be upgrading my gaming PC. This video is going to be recorded as I live stream this effort, and this upgrade is going to be a pretty quick one from an installation standpoint, because I am upgrading just my GPU today. A few months ago we did the CPU, the memory, and the motherboard. Today, just the GPU. And as you can see here, I went with what is, at the moment, the top-of-the-line card. I paid a good amount of money for this thing. This is the GTX 2080 Ti. And I figured I would get the same brand as my motherboard, so I went with the Asus version here. And I was looking around at maybe the 2080 Super or one of the other cards that are more recent, but in looking at those, I said, you know what, I'll probably end up upgrading the card in a year anyhow, so why don't we just go with the top of the line that's available at the moment and see how long we can get out of this. So I spent a good amount of money on this, but I am really excited to improve frame rates in some of the VR games that I'm playing that are getting more and more demanding, namely X-Plane, which is a flight simulator, No Man's Sky, and of course we've got Half-Life Alyx coming out in a few weeks, and I really wanted something that could give me a sustained 90 frames per second in a lot of those demanding VR games. We got the CPU going in our last upgrade, but now I really want to get the GPU side taken care of. So what we're going to be doing now is getting this card installed into my gaming PC. We'll run some benchmarks and compare it against the 1080 that it's replacing, and then we'll play a few games on it too. Should be kind of fun, so we're going to get to it in just a second. Now, I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that I paid for the GPU here with my own funds, and all of the parts inside of my gaming computer were also purchased with my own funds. Nobody is reviewing or approving what you're about to see before this is uploaded, and all of the opinions are my own. So let's get to it now and get this card unboxed and installed. All right, so let's take this out of the box. Here we go, folks. So we're going to open it up and try to keep the box in pristine condition, because I have a feeling a couple of years from now I will be selling this as I tear the box open here. Let's just get it out this way. It's really kind of tight here. And we'll have a look around and see what they include inside the box. We'll do my overhead view here so you can get a better view of it. This is how you know you're getting something fancy. You've got gold print here. We've got a CD-ROM. I have no CD-ROM player, but we'll download those drivers and some instructions as to how to set it up. So we'll put those aside. I'm sure we might need to refer to those. And then we have a little cable tie thing. And then we've got the card itself. There's not much to see in here, folks, just the card and a little cable tie. Holy mackerel, this thing is a monster. This thing's got to weigh about, probably about 2 or 3 pounds. This is heavy. Like, this is pretty bulky. So let's get it out of its thing. Let me just ground myself here and make sure we're not going to zap anything. I got to put my wristband on in a minute here. But I'm just going to open it up and just have a look inside here and see what we've got for the card. And hopefully everything is in good shape. We've had a few live streams over the years where things came broken, so hopefully everything here is in tip-top shape. And let's just get the wrapping undone here. Now this thing has a switch on here, which I'll show you in a second. I was reading the instructions a little bit earlier. So here's the fans. This is a really monster card here. Look at these heat pipes in here. There's like these big, if you can see them. Let's see, there you go. You can see those pipes running through there. This is a monster. Now there's a setting on the top of the card here, and there's a little printed thing. It's hard to see on camera, but it says performance mode or quiet mode. There's an actual physical switch. And of course, I'm going to set mine to performance, which means we might hear a little bit more fan noise. But if you wanted it quieter, you could switch it over to quiet. And it looks like you could just get at that on the top of the card here. Now for power, this might be something I've got to spend some time on here. We've got 2 power connectors here, so this is going to use a lot more juice than my prior cards, so that is something just to keep in mind. I think I've got a 750 watt power supply in my computer now. Hopefully that's enough. Now what I'm taking out of here is a GTX 1080 card that I have, I think I got around 2 or 3 years ago. So we're just going to get this one out. By the way, in case you're wondering what the specs are on the system currently, we have an i9 9900K processor. Some of the stuff in the case I had from the prior build, so I kept the liquid cooler here, for example, and the 750 watt power supply. Hopefully that should be enough for this project. We also have 16 gigs of RAM in here, and then the 1080 that we are taking out will be replaced by the new 2080 that I just purchased. So I'm just going to pop this out of here. And this card's pretty beefy on its own, but it's amazing how much more horsepower we are putting into the mix. This card's pretty heavy, but again, the new one is a lot heavier. So I'm going to set this one down over here, and we're going to move the new one here into position. And hopefully it fits in the case. I may have to move some cables around. Now, one of the things that I will say I don't do very well is cable management, as you can see. I'm going to have some challenges here getting this large card in here, so I may have to adjust some of these cables to fit everything in properly. One of the things you should spend time doing is getting these cables out of the way, unlike what I have done, just because it improves cooling and, of course, makes it easier to fit your cards in. So I'm going to take a little break here, and what I'm going to do now is do a little cable management so we can fit the card in and continue the project here. All right, I got some of these cables moved out of the way, so we're going to now just get the card seated in the slot. It looks like it's in there now. Let me just double check. Yep. Okay, so now we're going to connect up power, and I've got a power cable on my power supply here that has the right number of connectors, so we're just going to get both of these hooked up. Again, this is like double what my last card was using, so this is going to definitely require more juice than the original, and that's one thing to keep in mind when you are buying a high-end graphics card, is to make sure you've got a large enough power supply to handle it all. So what I'm going to do now is just get the rest of the power cables connected here, and the next step is we'll put the case back on, as I mentioned before, and boot it up. So stay tuned, we're almost there. All right, so we're going to hit the power button now. Let's see if it comes on. That's oh, all right, one more time. There it goes. It's funny, it did that when we first installed it initially. It kind of like did a fit and start here, but it looks like everything is starting to come up. And we've got the monitor here hooked up as well, so we'll see if that video card gives us something to look at. And it looks like the monitor just came on, so I think we are in good shape. Yeah, here we go, it's starting to boot up. So now what we'll probably have to do first is install some drivers, because I still have the 1080 drivers on from before, and undoubtedly we will need new, more up-to-date drivers. So once this boots up into Windows, we'll take a look and see what we need to do there. All right, so we have booted Windows back up. All is good so far. I did have a few issues with one of my hard drives that I have to troubleshoot. Now the next step is to get the drivers installed. Now I already uninstalled the drivers that I was running with my 1080, and now we're going to do a clean install of the graphics drivers for the 2080 Ti. I got these off of the Nvidia website. These are the most recent drivers that came in. And under the options here, I think what I'm going to do is go over to Custom, and I'm going to click on Perform a Clean Installation. And what this will do is restore all of my settings to default, but this will ensure that we get everything going here on a clean slate without having to reinstall Windows, hopefully. So we're going to let this run, and when it's done, we'll get our benchmarking software booted up and see how the card performs versus our old one. All right, so we are running the first benchmark now. This is the Time Spy benchmark, and we run this on all of the computers that we test here on the channel. Rarely do you see me actually running it in a video. It's a really cool demo that I wish there was a game around it. It's just a graphic demo here. And when this is done, we'll get a score that'll give us a comparative again against what we had configured on this before. Okay, so the test just concluded, and we got a score initially here of 13,319. Now, I haven't tweaked anything yet. This is just like right after the installation of the hardware and the drivers, which is a very good score. In fact, it's almost twice as fast as what we had before with the 1080 GPU inside of the same case. So the prior score was 7,448. On graphics test 1, we're hitting 92.25 frames per second. Before, it was about 47. Graphics test 2, almost 86 frames per second. Before, it was 41. And because we have the same CPU, the CPU score is the same. All right, so the first game we tried out here is GTA 5, and I cranked everything up at 4K. We're shooting the screen here with my camera. And the only thing I turned down was the MSAA setting. We're at 4x versus 8x, and we're running at about 73 to 74 frames per second right now in 4K. The game looks great. This is a 60 hertz monitor, so we don't have the ideal monitor for the amount of frames we're pushing here, but this is really cool to be able to run this game at this frame rate with most of the settings turned up. Again, the only thing we turned down here was the MSAA, which went from 8x to 4x, and that seems to be working a little better. When we had it at 8x, we were getting about 35 to 45 frames per second. So not bad, but certainly a lot better here running at a very comfortable 78-ish right now, which would be doing really well on my 4K television upstairs. And next up here is Doom. We cranked the settings up, as you can see here, and even with those settings cranked at 4K, we're running well over 100 frames per second most of the time. In fact, getting into the 150 frames per second territory here as we're running through the game. Pretty remarkable performance out of this card so far. And here is Forza 4 running at full settings 4K HDR on my OLED TV upstairs. It looks great. Everything is performing wonderfully. We are pretty much staying at 60 frames per second all the time. Occasionally it might drop down to like 56 or 58 or something, but really it's holding itself pretty consistently despite these super high settings. And they've got a great benchmark that you can run on Forza 4. Check it out here. This is the results of that benchmark running a little earlier. Now, I was curious to see how performance was when the RTX features of the card were enabled. This supports the new ray tracing features. You're watching a benchmark from Wolfenstein Youngblood running here. It looks great at 4K. We had the video quality set to Uber, and here you can see the results. Average frames per second at 83. Max 111, and this largely mirrored my gameplay experience as well. So really good performance here even on RTX-enabled games. However, I did see that Quake II RTX did not perform nearly as well. If I turned RTX off, we're running at almost 1,000 frames per second, give or take. So there's definitely some performance variances here based on what you're running, but a well-optimized game like Wolfenstein here looks and plays great. So we're going to move on now to VR testing, and we're going to start with X-Plane 11, which is an extremely demanding VR title. It also runs in desktop mode. And here you can see we're getting about 45 frames per second on X-Plane, which is actually very good in VR for this title. My old GPU wasn't getting close to that sustained frame rate. And if you look at the GPU graph, it looks like I've got some room to perhaps improve the graphic fidelity because the real bottleneck here is the i9 CPU, believe it or not. This game is just not well optimized for virtual reality, and I'm really eager to see how the Microsoft Flight Simulator does in VR if they do in fact put a VR mode into it. But nonetheless, I am very pleased with how well this is running. It is so much smoother in my headset than it was before with my old GPU. It's definitely a lot more playable now than it was earlier, so that's a good thing. But this does give you an indication as to just how much farther technology has to go to make robust VR possible given the frame rates that we have to run each eye at. Here's another one. This is No Man's Sky. I could never get this to even remotely get close to 90 frames per second on my old GPU, and here you can see we're actually doing pretty decently. But, and here's the but, we're running at the lowest settings, and that is the best we're able to get even out of this super high-end GPU with a fairly high-end CPU. So optimization, of course, would help with this game and some of the other ones, but also just having cards and CPUs that are more tuned for this kind of VR experience are going to be necessary to really extend this art. And I think we have a long way to go here, but nonetheless, I'm pretty pleased with how much smoother it is with these two demanding titles. And this one is kind of fun. This is called the VR Funhouse, and it's from NVIDIA. It's a free game that you can find on Steam. And this has been out for a while, and it has 3 different graphics settings, and I could never get the top setting to work very well on any of my prior hardware, but now it is actually playing pretty nicely at the highest graphics settings, and you can see the outcome of that here. All good stuff. Now, most of the VR titles that you'll encounter on Steam and in Oculus are really tuned to get 90 frames per second out of lower powered hardware. But the cool thing is with a higher powered GPU is that you can turn up the super sampling in Steam to get a higher quality image delivered to your headset. And you can get there because you have the horsepower in your GPU to deliver that better graphical fidelity. And you can set this super sampling percentage level in each game individually. So if you're seeing that you're not making full use of that GPU and you've got the settings turned up, you can then go into that super sampling and bump things up a bit to get a better quality image with the higher end hardware. So overall, I am very pleased with the outcome here. My goal was getting better VR performance, and we've got it in a very good way. So this card is going to do what I wanted it to do, at least for now, until some other piece of software comes out that strains it further. I do have some tweaking to do. I found that my system's acting a little bit weird with my SATA drives, so I have to figure out what's going on with that. But otherwise, I am quite pleased with this upgrade. Not inexpensive, but it will achieve what I wanted to achieve, which was better VR performance and, of course, better 4K performance, too. So a lot more to see on this one, I am sure. Let me know if you'd like me to test anything out for you. And until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Tom Albrecht, Rick Vestudo, Chris Allegretta, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.